The hype cycle has gone full circle, and game industry professionals are roasting game industry professionals. E3 is no longer safe from criticism, even from itself. All thanks to the raucously incisive Devolver Digital E3 Mega Press Conference. Go, click on this, watch it if you haven't. It's a better video than anything you'll see on this weirdo channel of mine. Better than a video I made 2 years ago about how much I don't like press conferences. So now having a publisher go and do a fake press conference all about how unlikable press conferences are is like getting a reply from your letter to Santa. So sometimes dreams come true, I guess. Sometimes in the form of Chief Synergy Officer Nina Struthers.
Can we just... Come on, you are professional journalists.
Seeing as how no one else has done it yet, I decided to talk to the people behind this video. Nigel Lowrie is one of the 5 founders of Devolver Digital, and their published games and the marketing materials they make for them have gathered into a kind of mass of mischief, tinged with enough of its own style and humor for one interview feature to call Devolver Digital the Death Row Records of video games, which has culminated into them releasing an E3 press conference that wasn't a part of E3, wasn't staged in front of the press, didn't reveal any new games, didn't make any new announcements, and was streamed to just one channel, Twitch's own.
Hello.
Hello, Nigel Lowrie. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Excellent. All right, first of all, can you tell us, Nigel Lowrie, who you are and what your position within Devolver Digital is?
Sure, I am Nigel Lowrie. I am one of the partners at Devolver Digital, and my primary responsibilities are in new business, kind of finding and signing the games that we want to work with. And then when it comes time, once those games are signed, working closely with them to make sure everything goes smoothly and that help market the games.
Whose idea was it to create a mocking, roasting parody of an E3 conference as a means of actually marketing?
It was our idea, and we've had it was like 3 or 4 years ago that we wanted to do it. We'd always think about it a little too late. Every year we want to do it, and we're like, hey, we should do our fake Devolver press conference. And then we'll be like, we have to worry about the actual E3 appearance and what we're doing there, demoing the games, and we just wouldn't have time to do it. This is the first year we were like, hey, we should definitely do this well ahead of time. What we did this year was pretty much what we wanted to do for the past 3 years. Some of the ideas, for example, of Steam Earliest Access or Screen Pay, those type of, fake kind of technology announcements. Those are ideas we had jotted down 2 or 3 years ago.
As far as the video that came out now, was there a particular message that you guys were trying to convey with it being criticism of the industry?
The intention was that every year, like any game fan, because we're game fans, right? We're obviously really into video games, both on a professional and a just, personal level of enjoyment. And we watch the same 3 to 5 press conferences every year. And they're very exciting. I watch them because they're exciting. There's some of the biggest reveals and the biggest news of amazing games happen from amazing people. That said, they're obviously so over the top, slathered in marketing and controlled messages and controlled environments and rehearsed presentations that there's funny moments in them, unintentional funny moments, or there's things that clearly just come off as a little too businesslike and a little too rehearsed, right? And we just thought it would be funny if Devolver were to do something like this, to do a press conference, to convey some news that, one, none of it was real for the most part, and we would just kind of poke fun of not just the industry, but ourselves, because we're part of this industry. So we're poking fun of the industry, not anyone in particular. I think it was important that we didn't try to and think to point to somebody and ridicule them, because getting up on stage is, it's a brave thing to do. It's not easy. There's people that do it, right? That get up there and have to present something, whether the developer or the head of the company or the, chief technology officer or whatever. It's a hard thing to do, and I know it's not easy. I'm frankly, if we had to do something live, I would, be sweating and pissing my pants because of how hard it is. So it was important that we weren't like kind of acutely pointing to something and ridiculing it. But what we thought would be good is, and it turns out people, it seems like they like for the most part, was this overarching kind of, hey, what are we doing here? We're making kind of, we make some, we get this formal presentation, we get press and partners and employees in a room, and we get everybody all riled up. And we thought it'd be funny to maybe mock that a little bit and show how, you can get a lot of people to watch something and not have a real message and just kind of goof off at the same time, and maybe bring a little bit more fun to the air and to the goings on of E3.
So, who do you want to credit with writing the press conference video?
Well, the process was our team came up with the basic idea, like, this is the tone, this is what we want to do, this is the jokes we want to make, here's the fake kind of announcements and games we want involved. And then we went to a few different partners and we kind of pitched the idea. And the one we ended up going with was Imagos Films and Don Thacker and his team. And they brought it to life. So he took the ideas that we had, laid them out in kind of I guess you can call it a script, if you will. Added in some flavor, of course, like he brought in, hey, here's this idea of what this particular person might say. Him and I went back, editing that script back and forth until we were happy with it, and they produced it, they shot it, edited it, added in sound effects, special effects, all those things, and we went back and forth with different edits, layering in things like we're friends with Suda51, so we kind of came up with this idea to put Suda in there and where to put him. We would come up with ideas on how to make it a little more Devolver and less totally just wacky, and have some kind of Devolver humor in there as well, if you will, if that's even a thing. But yeah, I'd say that it was kind of an effort between Devolver and Imagos Films, and it turned out we were extremely happy with what Imagos was able to put together.
Hey, as a side note, remember all those oddball trailers for Jazz Punk and Soma? Turns out they were made by the same guy in the same company as the Devolver press conference, who turns out to also be a game designer. Don Thacker also helped make Death Road to Canada, who'da thunk it? It's easy to forget that Devolver also publishes movies, so it actually makes a lot of sense that they've got good connections for making good videos. Anyways.
I think that it helps to be that aired in the context of those same press conferences, right? We were airing something that was very much, and with Twitch's help and support, they allowed us to kind of be buffoons and poke a little fun and have a little fun. Anecdotally, you can I looked at social media comments, and while I'd say 95% of them were very positive, certainly some people didn't find humor or thought it was a waste of time, which I'm not going to argue that it might have been a waste of time and money. But I think that, we didn't go into, we went into this, I promise you, the minutes before it was set to air, I was extremely personally nervous that people might not so much not find it funny. Well, not find it funny was always a risk, but I think people might be disappointed because we actually just jokingly, we always saw this as a joke. We always knew what it was going to be, and we announced it, and people got very excited that we were going to do something, and they were expecting, a Hotline Miami 3 or Serious Sam 4 or some new thing, and then I quickly realized that, we didn't really establish that this is going to be a joke. So we continued on social media over the next few weeks of making sure that people literally knew there was going to be no new game announcements. We didn't, we said there was going to be some jokes, but we didn't say it to what extent the ridiculousness would be. But I wanted to make sure that the blowback, I don't care if people didn't think it was funny, and we didn't care if some people maybe slightly took offense to it for whatever reason. But what we did care is we didn't let down actual fans that we acted like we were going to release some grand news on new games and disappoint them.
I expected some tension here to be pointed at E3's way, partially because Devolver has a history of conflict with E3, notably over what to do with the parking lot across the street from it. After facing the exorbitant cost of an E3 booth where $100,000 for a space is on the low end, Devolver has instead decided to rent out the parking lot next door to Hooters for their publicity events. They've been doing this for a few years, at least as far back as 2013, when Time reported that they were demoing Hotline Miami 2 in a small trailer off of E3's premises. But in 2015, they arrived on site to find it blocked by a parking lot full of trucks blocking the view. So in 2016, they released a giant balloon to beacon onlookers towards the space. In 2017, they were planning to double the size of the event and close that gap, renting out the additional lot. And while they were able to secure the rental for that lot, the city of LA denied their permit to party on it, losing them $100,000 as a result. At the time, Devolver co-founder Mike Wilson alleged that the ESA meddled in the process, while the ESA denies the alleged denial. So I was wondering if this year's press conference video might have been intended as a kind of media event to one-up the thematics of that kind of beef that may have been there in years past.
Not really. We've had the parking lot thing, which we did this year as well. We've been doing that. I think this is our 5th year to do it, I believe. Mm-hmm. 4th or 5th year in which we have rented a parking lot, directly across from the south entrance, and had, invited over industry, press, partners, things like that, to come check out our latest games like you would do at E3. We just do so on kind of our own terms in our own space. We have food and drinks and entertainment and things like that. And that's been fun, and we'll probably continue to do that. This year we had planned to do a second parking lot next door to it, adjacent to it, that traditionally the ESA has rented out to, for whatever reason, just to mostly leave empty or store trucks there for some reason. And we had planned that, and at the last minute, the city refused the permits that were required. Mm-hmm. So we had to not do that part of it. Though we continued our traditional kind of E3 Devolver lot that we always do. But to answer your question, the press conference that we did is not something that consciously it wasn't aimed at the ESA, or it wasn't really about that at all. And frankly, ESA wasn't even in my mind when we talked about this. It was more about just having fun and doing a fake funny press conference.
And I was actually just meaning to ask if you found it difficult to juggle the interests of the company against the video's style of comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that initially we were just going to play some existing. Well, we were just, we wanted to still have some sort of game in there, but we talked about making fake games, which we ran out of time. We talked about, using popular games, but not necessarily, anything new. But as it got closer, we're like, oh, we need to put in something. You see in the video that we show Serious Sam's Bogus Detour, which came out shortly after E3. We also had a video for Ruiner in there, which is coming out later this fall. Mm-hmm. So we thought it was important, after a while, to juggle that. Like, hey, if people are going to watch this, it would be nice. There'd be a lot of eyes on it. It would be nice to make sure that our developers of 2 upcoming games felt that we took an opportunity to put their games in front of a lot of eyeballs, which that helped out. Played out really well as well. So there was this initial we should probably do something with games in there, but we had never planned to, make any sort of major announcements. But I think it certainly helps that we're doing so not from just here's a text blog post or here's some social media criticism, that snarkiness that everyone participates in, but to actually go out and just produce something a little goofy and maybe hopefully is a breath of fresh air that, like I said, is poking fun at the industry as a whole, us included, because we're just as guilty sometimes of maybe taking things a little too seriously.
I can relate to that one. That's the anxiety that comes from poking fun at yourself for profit. Devolver's incisive jab at corporate advertising is, despite how cool they play it off, still more advertising. As fun as this shtick is, when you're in the driver's seat, you're really riding a precarious line between being sarcastic and self-aware while also earnestly needing to put on a good show and make that money. So let's wrap this up by wondering if anyone's going to try this again next year. Things could get awkward as inspiration dries up and imitators appear.
It was a lot of fun. We've already, frankly, talked about and started writing out ideas of what we want to do if we do it again next year, which I think we will, and how we can maybe make it fun without trying to kind of beat a dead horse.
Well, good luck with that.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Talk to you soon.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.